Well, welcome everyone. Today, I'd like to give you a little preview of what we're going to be seeing in the Energy Summit next week, the Virtual Energy Summit. We're about a week away from going live. And with me today, I'm pleased to have a couple of guests with us. I've got Don Lane from our Ultra Reliable Wireless team at Cisco. And I also have a partner of ours, Bats Wireless, represented by Jeremy and Phil Kramer. And we're going to just take a few minutes today to talk a little bit about how we're going to be walking through some of the agile technology we're talking about next week, and at the summit, and give you a little bit of a taste of what type of information you can expect to hear more about next week. Let's do some quick. I don't know that we need any deeper introductions than that. If you want to tell us a little bit more about yourselves through the answers to your questions, that would be cool. And other than that, we'll dive right in. Next week's summit is about agile infrastructure. And one of the key ways that we can actually introduce agility to your operation, more agility than what you have today, is through wireless. And there's a lot of different places that we apply wireless in the operation. A lot of times what we think of in terms of wireless is what we access with our laptops and our mobility devices, and that we call access wireless. Today, we're going to talk about a different part of the infrastructure primarily, and that is a transport wireless option. A lot of times in the energy industry, whether you're talking about renewables, whether you're talking upstream, midstream, or downstream, all of them have infrastructure challenges of getting to a building or getting to a platform or getting to a pipeline. And wireless is an important piece of that infrastructure component. And we're going to talk a little bit about that today, and it's going to be introduced in a little bit more detail throughout the Agile Infrastructure Summit next week. I'm going to start with a question that basically just talks about the benefits of wireless. And can each of you talk to me a little bit about what do you think is the benefit that what use cases, I guess, do you think will benefit most from wireless in the energy industry, kind of across all the segments I mentioned? Maybe we'll start with Don.
Yeah, Roland, thank you very much. So when you look at wireless, everybody, as you indicated, everybody thinks about the connectivity to their laptops or their tablets or their cell phones, and and everybody gets a lot of connectivity or what you're looking at, and they don't realize that there's connectivity out there that goes beyond what you're holding in your hand or sitting at in front of your home or your desk, and that's connectivity to get information from the field, information from a rig, information from a vehicle to help them operate. And this can be done through numerous options. We have private 5G and 5G solutions that are coming into the market now. You've got currently LTE solutions, 4G, that's been around for a long time now. And then you have other solutions where you're not paying monthly cost to it. And that could be a combination of the Cisco Ultra Reliable Wireless Backhaul. It still could be a combination of Wi-Fi. And then it even goes down even further, really depending upon the connectivity or what you're trying to access, with the use cases. And we have solutions called LoRaWAN, and this is going to get you connectivity out to sensors and various other areas. And all of these can be used together, portions of them, one of them, 5 of them, 3 of them. It's really all wrapped around that use case. What is the use case and what's the best solution to fit that need?
Well, let's talk about that a little bit. Maybe Jeremy or Phil, can you talk to us a little bit about what Bats Wireless does, and maybe what use cases you've seen for wireless in the energy industry?
Yeah, sure, Roland. And thanks, Don. My name's Phil Kramer with Bats Wireless, and we're a technology company that enables you to take a radio such as the Ultra Reliable Curb radio from Cisco, and to enable high-speed transmission and data connections at great distance on the move. So our enabling technology allows you to have high throughput connectivity at 10, 15, 20, 40 kilometers, for example, in an offshore environment, connecting back to the platforms or service vessels connecting to FPSOs and so forth. So with our innovative technology paired with the innovative Cisco Curb radio, you can have great throughput at distance in any environment, whether that's offshore or a quick deploy scenario in the land-based field drilling.
So talk to me a little bit about the land-based ones. I know you've got some examples. Maybe take us through some of those use cases, Phil. I know you have use cases in upstream, midstream, downstream, and renewables. Maybe just give us examples throughout those of where you've seen that type of requirement be helpful.
Sure. Well, for example, down in the Permian, our systems are deployed where they have service trucks or a trailer that's being rolled out to a drilling site, and then they want to immediately have connectivity back to their base stations. And with our systems, our quick deploy systems, whether that's an electrical mechanical system or one of our solid state antenna aiming systems, they can put up our system paired with the Curb radio and have a great connection of 20-30 megabits per second at 10-15 kilometers from their original sectors. Yeah.
Cool.
The other is on the refinery turnarounds. So for example, we have a number of deployments where our equipment has been rolled out in a refinery turnaround where they need to immediately get wireless connectivity set up for the refinery turnaround. They roll our system out and then provide connectivity throughout the work area by connecting this backhaul link in at great distance.
And let me add to that, Roland, if I may. Go ahead. So in the refinery turnaround, that connectivity, think a bit about it. If you're having an option, if you need connectivity from one point to another, and normally in the past you would have considered laying down a fiber line, and fiber is, although it's a wonderful product, it's very expensive to lay. The solution itself is not so much, but the cost of getting it down and the time frame to get the fiber installed is really the prohibiting factors. Whereas if you need a strong, reliable connection and you need to get it from one point to the other, using a Curb technology can get you a quick, reliable, secure connection that's going to allow those buildings or those tank connections or anything that you can think of happen quickly without and a much lesser cost than it would be to put in.
Yeah, you're not disrupting all the a lot of the other parts of the operation while you're routing the connection, right? You're basically shooting over top of a lot of that, right? Now, the other thing I was going to ask about, I know you've done some work in renewables as well. I don't know if one of you wants to talk a little bit about, we're going to have a couple of sessions on renewables at the summit. Talk to me a little bit about what you've been doing in, is it the North Sea or in that area?
Yes, in the North Sea, in that we have a system that actually supports for high-speed mobility with great throughput, supports in this case, it's designed to support the Curb FM 4500 in the 5 gigahertz space, and also the IR 1101 LTE radio. So we have a dual tracking system that is all solid state, so no moving parts, and it will connect to the LTE at 30 and 40 miles, as well as connecting to the base station in the wind farm, the base stations in the wind farm at 5 gigahertz. So it's it's dual based. There's a tracking system. It's all it's all electronic beam steering for both the LTE as well as the 5 gigahertz simultaneously and independent. So that's something we're excited about.
Yeah, that's very cool. So the 1101 kind of does some of the routing decision making for the traffic, and then you're able to provide connectivity to either environment. Is that fair?
Yes,
so
that's correct.
To kind of jump in here. So we've actually also integrated in the IE 3300.
Okay.
So we're kind of using that in combination with the 1101, with the expansion ports on there, as well
That's
as
very cool.
as well as the FN 4500. So you kind of get a couple benefits with that. One of them is you get dual independent communications links. So you'll get a link
Yep.
for your 4G communications that'll be completely independent of the 5 gig mesh style network deployments. So you can kind of do a couple things in that space. So one is you can connect to either public or private LTE on shore. And then as you get further out to sea, you can then connect to whatever private network you have, for example, with that wind farm. Now, the benefit for having dual independent streams is that with the 1101 and the 3300, we can now start instituting some kind of channel bonding or failover. So you get seamless handoff from one side to the other. So that is a big benefit.
I'm going to need to wrap. I don't want you to cover all the material you're going to cover next week. So maybe talk. We've actually covered a lot of different pieces here and given a little bit of a tour of all of the different areas of energy. And we've also talked about a number of different product areas within Cisco that are going to be talked about next week, from the routing, the switching, the wireless, the curb radios, LTE endpoints. A lot of different things, and one thing we haven't talked about today, but is also very pertinent that we're going to talk about at the summit, is the actual applications and happens over top of this infrastructure. And you can see how this kind of agility would give you a lot of versatility. I think we're gonna leave it at that, and
we're excited.
Invite people to come back for the virtual summit. We are going to be recording all the sessions. But we'd love to have you live so that we can answer your questions. The place to register is cs.co/energy22, and we'd love to have you there. Have a great week, and we'll see you back for the summit, and really enjoy the content we have for you then. Thanks a lot very much, Don and Phil and Jeremy, for joining me for this little short snippet.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Roland.
Bye.